I'm Chris Kaplinger, Director of FYE. Thanks again for teaching Global Citizens this semester. This video will cover two sets of issues. First, there's a brief overview of what's in the template, the common set of resources we upload to each section at the beginning of the semester. I'll go over strategies for how to review what you may want to use. And secondly, I'll demonstrate how to customize material for your specific section. It's pretty simple compared with past semesters. So let's get started. I'm viewing the course now as a student would. There are two modules visible to students in the modules folder. The first, new in fall 2013, is named What is a Global Citizen? It is meant as an overview and was created on the recommendation of a faculty assessment team. It helps students define global citizenship and makes an argument about its relevance. The second module is closely tied to the third learning outcome of the course. It asks students to engage with global issues on campus. While it's not required, I strongly encourage you to consider assigning it to your students. In the section that I teach personally, I assign about 25% of the course grade to this module. Let's take a close look at it. The structure of the modules in the template all look like this. To the left, we list purpose and outcomes, both module outcomes and how they relate to course outcomes. The right frame includes links to the specific content we want students to view. In this case, we're asking students to participate in two events on campus that are part of the Global Engagement Series and to do some online research about the Center for International Studies and study abroad opportunities. Let me also take this opportunity to note two changes from previous semesters. The first is that this page is the only way to access content. We've not added individual links to these pieces of content through the Content tab, so students can't access this link through any other thing except for this page. We did this because it avoided some glitches prompted by recent updates to browsers, and also because it's cleaner. The second change is that there are no assessments embedded in the modules. We did this for several reasons, but mainly to reduce the need for faculty to customize their courses. What this does mean is that you'll have to point students to the Assessment tab at the top of Folio for them to access these assessments, unless you want to make some changes to these pages themselves, which is possible. So let's quickly look at what students see when they go into drop boxes or quizzes. Right now, they don't see anything. We've hidden all of this material, and the same thing is for discussions. Similarly, we've also left the gradebook empty. Again, this was a recommendation of a faculty assessment team. It's easier to create gradebook items for the assessments that you want to use than it is to take away gradebook items for those that you don't want to use. Now I'm going to switch over to Instructor View so you can see the other material we've uploaded but hidden from students. The easiest way to view, I think, is through the Content tab. Here you can see the modules visible to students, but also the 18 other modules that we've created. And we've actually uploaded this material twice. The modules are just organized differently. For those teaching for the first time, you may wish to access through the Student Learning Outcome folder, which I'll click here. Simply click on a link and see if it's something that you want to assign. You can also thumb through all of these by just advancing this slide here and go through all those modules that way. For those who have taught before, you may wish to use the modules organized by revision date folder. This way you can see only those modules that are new for spring 2014 or that have been revised since last spring. This brings us to the second main part of this video, how you can customize your individual section. Making the modules visible is very easy. You do this through the Edit Course and then Course Builder menu. And what you do is you find a module that you want to use, and I'm going to find one in the SLO folder, the Characteristics of Culture, that is fairly widely used. And you just simply select it and drag it up to the modules folder. And really that's it. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the student perspective really quickly. Changing roles and going into the modules folder, you see now that that module is available for students to use and to access. Okay, back now to Instructor View. There are associated assignments with each module, and if you go, there is a quick reference guide to this where you can pull up a Google form that will show you the name of the module and then the associated assessments so you can quickly identify these. There's also some of this information in this Folio modules page on the FYE website. Once you have made a decision, however, what it is that you want to assign, you'll need to take three steps. First, you'll need to make an assignment visible. Then you'll need to make a gradebook item for it. And you'll also need to set a due date. And you actually don't need to do them in any particular order, but those are the three things that you need to do. So as an example, let's go into the Dropbox menu and to the Global Engagement Fair, which is one of FYE's major initiatives for the spring. And we're going to edit that assignment. Right. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a grade item. We'll call it Engagement Fair. Maybe give it a short name. Make it out of 100 points. And save. The next thing we do is we go to the Restrictions tab. There are two things here. Here's where you set a due date. You can also set a date beyond which students cannot submit an assignment here. But importantly, you have to toggle this to this link right here. Say, allow users with special access to submit files outside of the normal availability. All right, that's a little bit cumbersome, but in any event, this is what you do to make it visible. And you save and close. If it's one of the other modules down here in this section, there's one additional section. So let me click on this iceberg of culture and show you how you can. First, you need to put it in the No Categories module, and then you repeat all those other steps. We wanted to create that folder structure to make it a little bit less cumbersome, but does create one additional step if you're wanting to use something that is not a part of the two modules that we made available initially. This is essentially what you do. You can go back and view it as a student now. And you can see now that Global Engagement Fair. I didn't set a due date, so that's not there, but this is now visible for your students. Okay. Quizzes are a little bit different. It's the same basic concept, however. I'm still in student view. But you can go to a quiz. You can edit an individual quiz. All right. You need to create a grade item here, and then you go to restrictions. Here you make it active instead of inactive. All right, and you set your due date. Discussion posts are a little bit different. You go into the discussion menus. It's the same basic concept, but when you edit here, it's important to go into availability. And then to set your own date. This one was set in the template to end just before the beginning of the semester, so you need to set this to what you want the date to be. And then you go into restrictions, and then you unclick this button. This was likely checked in your section. You unselect it here, and then that makes it visible. And that's basically it. If you need any help with any of this, please let us know in FYE. You can either email us or you can complete the form on the FYE page, and we'll make the changes for you. If you go back to the Teaching FYE 1410 page, there's a link that says Request Assistance in Customizing Your Global Citizens course. We'll be happy to actually make these changes for you. Thank you again for teaching Global Citizens this semester.